Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. If you watched my video last night, I told you I was coming back motivated, and I wasn't lying. We got a few new Q posts, and I'm going to read through them first. If you want to skip to my analysis, just click the timestamp below in the video description, and you will be magically teleported there. Here we go. 25 minutes after the hour of 10 p.m., 1298 post. Q says, do you believe in coincidence? Referring to a couple of Anons here. Autis on fire. And then a third Anon. Do you believe in coincidences? Think recent Mueller drops. Think private comms. They fall for it every single time. Risk. Watch what happens. Q. 29 minutes past the hour of 10 p.m. Post 1299. It looks to me like an anonymous is posting R equals 18Q. And Q comes on with the same ID code and responds to this. So confirming that R is 18, but same poster. Turns out to be Q. 26 minutes after the hour of 11 p.m., post 1300, we have a link and Q. Adding on to that, at 32 minutes past the hour of 11 p.m., 1301 post, Q says connect, no coincidences, and adds another link. 32 minutes past the hour of 11 p.m. This is post 1302, and Anon posts this from U.S. Central Command, and Q confirms. 41 minutes past the hour of 11 p.m. we have another picture from U.S. Army Central, and Q says assets in place. And finally, 7 minutes past the hour of midnight. Post 1304, Q says Emmy Awards. Red carpet event, Q. Okay, let's take you back to the first post here, 25 minutes after the hour of 10 p.m. Q is responding to a couple of Anons. Do you believe in coincidences? Autis on fire. And then responds to a third Anon who says, do you believe in coincidences? Think recent Mueller drops. Think private comms. They fall for it every single time. Risk. Watch what happens. Okay, well, these first couple Anons were debating about a couple things, and I'll get to this in a minute, but let's talk about this third Anon who posts this, and it's a GP article, and the Anon says, Dems fearing Mueller now? And this is a quote from Mark Penn. Well, look, I spent a year fighting Ken Starr, and I think any reasonable person looking at what happened here says this investigation had no foundation, and whatever foundation it had was not only wrong, but corrupt. I think Christopher Steele was part of the FBI when he leaked, lied, and then was fired. Page and Strzok are clearly biased. The head of the FBI was clearly biased. The head of the CIA appeared to be doing illegal leaks as well. This whole thing was corrupt. There is a doctrine called the fruits of the poisonous tree that says when investigations get started like this, when searches and seizures are done on this basis, they should be thrown out. I think that's probably the best way to stop this thing, because otherwise we are going all the way to the end, and I don't think we should waste another year here. Okay, and Q responds there. Do you believe in coincidences? Think recent Mueller drops. Think private comms. Okay, well, we had I guess our most recent Mueller drop, if you want to call it a drop, was this weird post here from this Anon, and it must have been something because Q responded to it. Increased chatter regarding Mueller. Are you confused? Attempts to contact have failed. Can you trust your move? And then it has this code here. And Q says, shall we play a game? Can you trust? So it sounds like some deals are going on here. And folks, I would imagine that this is probably some tricky stuff. And I don't know if this is necessarily the Mueller drop that they're talking about, or if they're talking about the post that was a couple days before this regarding them the meeting with Mueller and Trump before the investigation began. Could be either one. But either way, these guys are panicking, and it seems like maybe they don't want this investigation to go on either. Maybe they're going to let the investigation keep on going. Remember, it's not into Trump anymore. So will the investigation go, or will they scrap it all and start a new investigation, being either a criminal investigation and hopefully at some point military tribunals or what not? But remember, Q did say that the next phase will bring justice, and justice was capitalized. I can't help but think that usually when Q does that, it could involve the Justice Department. So something to think about there. Now, in response to this, I want to move on a little bit because we'll get the story and it'll be easier to figure out if I don't clutter your mind, I think. But we'll take you to the next post here, and this is 30 minutes after the hour of 10 p.m. Q responds to an anonymous post that says R equals 18 Q. And if you'll notice, the ID codes are the same, and Q is referencing that previous trip code. I think it might have just been an error in when Q was trying to post it, and Q is just clarifying that this was me, and they're saying R equals 18. Okay, well, what is R? What is R? We talked about R the other day. Let me take you down even further. Right here, post 1277. Q says, important to note, text only. R equals renegade, not Rod Rosenstein. Okay, so at the time they were talking about the text only, and maybe that's all they are talking about, but this is where I found R. So could R be renegade? I'm not sure. But if so, who is renegade? Well, we know renegade is Barack Hussein Obama. Okay, so R equals 18. Obama equals 18. I don't know what that means. Hopefully we'll clear that up in just a minute. Let me take you over to this one. 26 minutes after the hour of 11 p.m., Q posts this Twitter post from the U.S. Embassy in Jordan. And it's just a clip of Mike Pompeo arriving in Jordan. Well, Mike Pompeo, he's in Jordan, yeah? Oh, sure is. Let me take you to firstpost.com. Mike Pompeo sets off on tour of Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Jordan. Vows to bring swagger back to U.S. diplomacy. This is as of April 28th. Washington's newly appointed Secretary of State set off on a tour of America's Key West Asia allies on Saturday, vowing to bring some swagger back to U.S. diplomacy. After attending NATO talks in Brussels, Mike Pompeo was to embark on a 3-day trip to Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Jordan to update friends on President Donald Trump's plans for the Iran nuclear deal. Pompeo insists his boss has not yet made the decision, but Trump is widely expected to pull the United States out of the accord next month, reimposing sanctions against Tehran's nuclear program. The former CIA chief, who was sworn in as Trump's top diplomat on Thursday and set off within 2 hours for Brussels, will consult with leaders of Iran's main regional opponents ahead of the announcement. But he also has a second, more personal mission to show foreign capitals and his own colleagues that U.S. diplomacy is back on track after the troubled reign of his sacked predecessor, Rex Tillerson. Trump's first Secretary of State, a former oil executive, failed to fill senior positions, embarked on unpopular bureaucratic reforms, and had conspicuously little chemistry with the president. Pompeo, a former Army officer, businessman, and conservative congressman, wanted to set off on the road immediately on being sworn in order to reach out to NATO and West Asia allies. But he has promised to address State Department staff in Washington upon his return on Tuesday, and was full of praise for the staff who scrambled to put together his first foreign itinerary. I just met with a great group of State Department officers who work at the mission. They may have been demoralized, but they seemed in good spirits, he said Friday at NATO headquarters. They are hopeful that the State Department will get its swagger back, that we will be out doing the things that they came on board at the State Department to do, he promised. To be professional, to deliver diplomacy, American diplomacy, around the world. That's my mission set, to build that esprit and get the team on the field so that we can effectuate American diplomacy. The former Kansas politician is seen as an anti-Iran hawk with hardline views about projecting U.S. military might, and his socially conservative opinions might be out of place at the State Department. Iran hawk. During his short confirmation process, critics pointed to past statements critical of Islam and of same-sex marriages, which they said made him an unsuitable champion of American ideals abroad. But there is also optimism palpable among the officials around him on the trip that U.S. diplomacy at last has a chief who can speak for the president and will focus on the department's core missions. In Saudi Arabia on Saturday, Pompeo is due to hold talks with his counterpart, Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir, in Riyadh before having dinner with the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Prince, or MBS as he is commonly known, is the kingdom's de facto ruler and a would-be social reformer who launched an anti-corruption drive to secure his own control over the oil-rich royal elite. Like Trump and Pompeo, he is a tough opponent of Iran, but his war against the Tehran-backed Houthi militia in Yemen is stumbling and has contributed to the country's large-scale humanitarian disaster. Trump also wants Riyadh to do more and spend more to support the U.S.-led operation in Syria to defeat the Islamic State group and allow American forces to come home more quickly. After Saudi Arabia, Pompeo is due to fly on to Israel for talks with staunch U.S. ally Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and then to Jordan, a friend with a long border war with war-torn Syria. Okay, so Pompeo's made this little trip: Saudi Arabia, Israel, Jordan. And we've got this video here showing him arriving in Jordan. That's from that Twitter. A couple minutes later, Q post connect. No coincidence. And then we have this from the Department of Defense's Twitter. Here comes the boom. USMC. Hashtag Marines brace while entrance is breached during exercise. Hashtag eager lion in Jordan. Wow. So Pompeo's not the only one. U.S. Department's in defense. The Marines are there. They're blowing up stuff. They're breaching. What are they doing? Operation Eager Lion. Sounds fun. Let's talk about that in a little bit. Let's go to the next post. And that takes you to this one right here. During the day and into the night, exercise Eager Lion. Jordanian Marines and U.S. Marines conduct live fire training to rehearse operating in coalition environment. This is U.S. Central Command. So there's another picture there, and Q. Basically just whenever you see Q, just enter that code right there. It's basically just kind of nodding his head almost. And then we've got one more picture here as well. And I believe that's this one here. Oops, excuse me. This one here. And this is off of U.S. Army Central. How about these for Friday Night Lights? U.S. Army Specialist Eric Littlefield looks for obstacles as his crew lands in Amman, Jordan during medical evacuation training as part of Eager Lion 18. Okay, so we've got Pompeo. And Pompeo is in Jordan. And it looks like we've got Marines in Jordan. And we've got the Army in Jordan. And Q says assets in place. Well, that's strange. I thought we were going to Iran. What are we going to Jordan for? And what's this Operation Eager Lion? Let me take you to it. This is off of centcom.mil. Eager Lion exercise, a keystone event in U.S.-Jordan partnerships. And this is of May of last year. Exercise Eager Lion, a keystone event between the strategic partnerships between the U.S. military and Jordan forces, commenced for a 7th year on May 7th. Major General William B. Hickman, Deputy Commanding General of Operations for 3rd Army U.S. Central Command, spoke with reporters at the Jordan Special Operations Command alongside his Jordanian counterpart, Brigadier General Khaled Sharah, Director of the Jordan Armed Forces Joint Training Directorate. Eager Lion is the largest U.S. Central Command exercise and is designed to strengthen military-to-military relationships between the U.S. and Jordan. International partners participate in biennial iterations of the exercise. Approximately 7,200 military personnel, including land, maritime, and Air Force troops from more than 20 nations, are participating, making 2017 the largest involvement to date. Beyond Jordan and the U.S., partner nations include Italy, Pakistan, Belgium, France, Lebanon, Australia, Britain, Egypt, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kenya, Greece, Poland, Japan, Taiwan, and the Netherlands. Military members will be responding to scenarios involving border security, command and control, cyber defense, and battle space management. Okay, good stuff here. So, we've got Pompeo in Jordan. We got the Marines in Jordan. We've got the Army in Jordan, and Q saying assets in place, but I thought we were going to Iran. I thought we were going to have this big old Moab. Remember, we're going to have this big old Moab, right? What happened with that? Well, folks, I would like to argue with you that Jordan is Moab. This is off of gracethroughfaith.com. Grace Through Faith, July 5th, 2006. I came across a scripture tonight and wondered what you make of it. Jeremiah 48:47 says, "And I will bring back the captivity of Moab in the last days." The people of Moab were somewhere in the vicinity of Jordan and were relatives of the Hebrews. Do you suppose that, like Israel, the rebirth of Moab would be a sign of the last days? Who would Moab be today? As far as I know, there are no such people now. What do you think this means? The Moabites were the descendants of the incestuous union between Abraham's nephew Lot and one of his daughters. The Ammonites came from Lot and his other daughter. They settled the area we now know as Jordan today, and the Lord sanctified this. Deuteronomy 2 verses 9. Its capital is Amman, a name derived from Ammon. Daniel 11:41 says that Edom, Moab, and the leaders of Ammon will be delivered from the hands of the Antichrist during the Great Tribulation. The leaders of Ammon probably refers to the royal family of Jordan, the Hashemites. The ancient city of Petra is located in southern Jordan, and it's here that many scholars believe the Jews will find refuge during the Great Tribulation. Okay, wow. So, could this be the Moab that we were talking about? So, Mike Pompeo. And we've got he's going to be finishing up his talks today. probably by the time you watch this video. We're doing all these training sessions in Moab, which is here. Remember, the movie Iron Eagle was all about from getting California to the Mediterranean, right? What's this R18? Let's look at this again. Eager lion? What if we took a couple letters here? We wouldn't even have to remove any. We didn't have to take any out. Don't have to add any. We can change eager lion to Iron Eagle. Iron Eagle 18. 18 is renegade. Renegade is Obama. Is Obama our Iron Eagle? I don't know, folks. Just some things I've been kicking around, and we don't have any confirmation on that. Let me take you to the next post. Q simply says Emmy Awards. Red carpet event? Q. Okay, well, that's right, the Emmy Awards. As a matter of fact, interestingly enough, the 45th annual Daytime Emmy Awards. Yeah, and it was just, I think it just finished up, followed by the main ceremony on Sunday, April 29th. Well, that is a red carpet event. That's very interesting that you say that's a red carpet event. Interestingly enough, I'm going to take you over to this YouTube channel. This is Jobrani. I don't really know this person. I'm assuming he's a comic. I didn't find him very funny, and I'm not going to play any of his video for copyright reasons. But if you want to go to Jobrani's YouTube and listen, this was his, he sort of hosted the Emmys, and he, of course, does the opening monologue and everything. It was very political, and I suggest that you listen to it. I'm not going to play it on this channel, but I do suggest that you listen to at least little bits of it, because I think you'll find the topics very, very relevant to what's going on. He talks about the border, and of course he spends his whole time on Trump. Does not get a lot of laughs, even for Hollywood. Does not get a lot of laughs. Pretty crazy. He does not exactly kill it, but you decide for yourself. But there you go. Yeah, so we had the Emmy Awards, red carpet event. Q. Wow. So Q's all of a sudden switching gears and talking about this red carpet event. What's he talking about? Let's search red carpet real quick. We heard that before, didn't we? There was a red carpet event the other night. State dinner, what will text reveal? Moab or precursor? But even more, let's go back to this one right here, and I don't know if I'll be able to, there we go. This is post 1258. We have an Anon that says, when will we have Moab? And Q says, should we tell all the good people watching the day and time? Red carpet rollout? Think logically. The world is watching. Interestingly enough, at the same time that we find Pompeo, the Marines, U.S. Central Command, the Keystone event, and the Army all doing exercise in Moab at the same time as the Emmy Awards red carpet event. It looks to me like this Anon got their answer after all. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what this will all mean in regards to Iran, but keep in mind that we now have troops on the ground here in Jordan. Q is saying that assets are in place, and Pompeo is finishing his trip up in Jordan. So I would assume we can probably be looking out for a big announcement in Moab coming soon. Not exactly sure what that is. Maybe that will be the Moab, or maybe it will be another precursor. We will see. But those are your Q posts. I hope that helps clear things up a little bit. As always, if any new Q posts come in, I will be on top of them as soon as I can. If you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me get this message out. It's really important these days. Also, lately I've been getting a lot of requests to do sort of a Q primer, or a proofs of Q, if you will, video for people who maybe don't understand Q, or maybe you're trying to explain Q to somebody and they don't really know what you're talking about, and you want to give them something light or something like that. So I'm entertaining making this video. If you've got any kinds of good graphics regarding Q proofs, please do me a favor and send them to me at my email, which is below, and just label it proofs of Q, and that would really help out a lot. Maybe we can put together a nice Q primer for people who are not familiar with this movement. Okay, that's all I have for you right now, and if anything comes up, I will keep you abreast of it. Until then, I am Sir Patrick Mack with In Pursuit of Truth. Stay sane, folks.